and then kick it off to you, Riksha. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you for having me here. Yeah. So shall we wait for a couple of minutes and then start? If that's cool with you. Okay. Probably a couple more people can join. Hey folks. Yeah, I'm actually very psyched to be here. This is one of my first few talks that I'd be delivering, and happy to be here. Yeah. And I'll be a workshop host for taking your project to the next level. And a little about me, I'm in my senior year doing EECS, which is Electrical Engineering and Computer Science in NIT Trichy. And I will be joining Microsoft in 2022. So that's a little about me. Yeah. So yeah, all of you guys must be really tired, and it's a new day, and you guys are gonna start with full vigor and try working on your projects. So you might wonder what we would do after this hackathon is over, and how we are gonna take it up in the further further months, and how we are gonna expand on that. So this is to give you a small guideline as to how we are gonna work further, like after your hackathon project is done. And so these are a few subtopics that we would be discussing, like, what are hackathon projects, how you can, expand on your ideas, how you get the motivation to do that. And some of the resources that we would be using, which can help you, connect to the correct people and, have amazing conversations with them, get new ideas, get inspired and stuff like that. So that's a little I have to say. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Parks and Rec. How many fans of Parks and Rec here? Any guys heard of Parks and Rec? I really find it extremely inspiring, and it kind of drove me to teamwork and motivation and stuff like that. So this is just one of my favorite quotes from Leslie Knope, the lead in Parks and Rec. So go find your team and get to work. Yeah, and whatever that work is, and it's supposed to be work that's worth doing. Yeah. And do it with the people you love. That's something that's amazing. And I would completely associate that with hackathons. And you have an amazing bunch, and you have amazing ideas that you poured into and you want to work on. So let's see how to get further. So hackathon projects. This is a melting pot of ideas. This entire 24 hours or 48 hours that you're here is going to be a nest of your best ideas. I know it's a little cringy, but it's amazing. Like, this is how I can actually describe hackathons. You have so many people from so many different backgrounds and so many different cultures coming and exchanging what they have. And truly, with more ideas and more perspectives to different problems, you're just going to have one of the best solutions that you could get to a particular problem. And that's one of the best things about hackathons. I know we'll all be without sleep, you're just going to keep doing for like so many hours together and probably stay up till 4 in the morning and just get like 4 hours of sleep. I know, but this is totally worth it because, you're going to have such amazing lightning ideas that probably you wouldn't be having until you get the same kind of environment again. Yeah. So that's something. What makes it very special? Once again, it's teamwork. Meeting people from different backgrounds, different social statuses, economic statuses, all coming together and doing for a common collective cause. Be it social empowerment or talking about marginalized communities, environment, medicine. There are so many fields that we will be exploring. Yeah. So you need to have a team with multiple different people, like from different backgrounds, and you'll have just a plethora of ideas. So you're just gonna have so many ideas. I'm pretty sure many of us over here in hackathons, we will be having a document that we start off, putting various ideas, probably a Google Doc or something, and we'll be like, okay, let's stick to this track and check out what we can do about that. Or let's stick to medicine. We'll try to do something about COVID-19. Or let's stick to environment. Like, let's talk about waste disposal. So many amazing ideas that you will be jotting down in this small time. So that's what makes it so special. How do we improve on it? Yeah, this is the most important thing. And this whole presentation is about how to improve on this. Yeah. So let's first think about ideas. So how many first-time hackers here? Just give me a cheer or just raise your hands or something. Just I need to get a good, yeah, so we have one. Okay. Yeah, we have 3 first-time hackers. Yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys are pretty new to hackathons, and trust me, this is the best place to, ID. And before you actually start on expanding an idea, you will have a lot of questions in your mind. So first, what do you do? How do you get started? So what I would suggest is that you first need to brainstorm. Brainstorm can be many different things. It could be adding new features to your existing project, or adding new products to make a complete project. Like sometimes you might have one part of the project that detects the BMI of a person. Just let's say we're going to do something related to health. You want a project that will actually help them with their meals or something. You might have 2-3 small sub projects that you can actually group together to form a bigger project. So that's one thing that you can brainstorm upon. Another thing could be that, what exactly are you going to do with this idea? So we would be discussing this further as to how to expand. But a few things are, you might start a company, or you might start an organization for that particular cause that you supported. There are multiple other ideas that you can actually follow. That's one thing that you would be brainstorming about. Secondly, I mean, it's pretty obvious that you're not going to create an entire organization with just the 4 of you guys who are working on this hackathon. Yeah. So how do you expand the team? So you would be sending out videos or presentations of what you did in this hackathon. Check out if people are interested, and check out if they would be right to, pour in their ideas into your project. So expand your team that way. Have some kind of user research. Just have some polls, and you could probably get their ideas as to how their project is, see their reactions, and you can go about after that thinking about how to exactly expand your project. Third would be contacting other entrepreneurs and nonprofit organizations. I've seen so many amazing projects that stem out of hackathon projects. I've seen so many amazing startups and people who create nonprofit after doing their hackathon projects. So you could probably ask them, how exactly they went about that, and you can connect with them via LinkedIn or the communities that are there, and you can get inspired. That's like the last stage. Just follow your heart, and you would make an amazing job out of it. So I always believe in planning. So this is kind of a rough guideline as to how you can actually proceed. So what I was thinking about converting my idea into a startup would be, have at least 1 or 2 years for ideation. Like have multiple research polls, research surveys, get an idea as to what people react to your particular idea. And after that, you could probably add on new features, or you could probably delete a couple of features that you don't feel like having, or just spend the first few months after the hackathon ideating on how you're going to take it further.
Yes, Mama. What time are we leaving for this? Whenever Mama wants. No, I'm waiting for you to finish and leave. Okay.
Oh,
No worries.
hi all. Sorry, just a reminder, please try to stay on mute. It's okay if like little things happen, but thank you.
No worries. Yeah. So after that is when you will be actually establishing the organization that you're going to make. So you can probably decide that you're going to support a common cause, like I'm going to work for upliftment of children of domestic abuse or something like that. You're going to have a particular organization. You can probably get it approved by the government, or just have a 501c certification for your organization, or any such stuff that you're going to do. If it's going to be a startup, you could probably open a LinkedIn page, or have a nice website for your project. Just have a proper structure that you would be using it for. Yeah. And after a couple of years, you could probably expand and create more franchises for your organization. Something like, you could open new chapters, or you could open new branches. You can expand on the products that you're doing. A lot of things that can be done when you enter your year 5. This is just a small suggestion. If you guys have other ideas, do let me know. I would love to hear about that. Yeah. So yeah, as I discussed earlier, the 3 main things that I would love to do, after my hackathon project, would be either convert it as a startup, or probably have it as a non-profit organization, or we could just have it as an open source tech that's available for people to use freely, and they could probably, adapt it and change it accordingly. So startups is just converting your idea into a full-scale user-usable product, where, if you wish to launch an app, you could probably work on it from a prototype to an actual working app, and you could probably release it on Play Store. That's one idea of that. Non-profit is you can probably meet with a lot of people for a common cause. You can check out how this app works for them, whether they find it to be useful, whether it's actually helpful for them, and then you could probably register your organization as a non-profit. That's one. And last one is fixing all the bugs that you actually accidentally made during the hackathon, and add more features, delete features, make fixes, a lot of other things. You could probably, if you had just created a prototype, you could probably convert it to an app, or you could do just a proper website for your project, and you can release it on GitHub. A lot of other cool stuff you can actually do with your project. So now all of us have expanded on what all we can do with the project. So where do we get the motivation? So I'm pretty sure all of us are going to be so tired at the end of 2 days, just crash in our beds and just be like, okay, I've spent the entire 2 days with a lot of projects, and now I'm super tired. I just want to take a chill. I know all of us are like that, but if we're going to do something with our project, and if we are motivated enough to do that, I think it's going to be a piece of cake. So how do you stay motivated? So this is a very simple strategy. This is not particular to a hackathon project, but it applies to any kind of project if you want to develop it further. So my strategy is that you have to set a target, have a clear structure, and be accountable. So target. So just put it in the chat how many times you've had difficulties in meeting a target. I'm sure all of us have faced it in our lives. Just you could unmute and talk, or you could put it in the chat. Anything is cool. Oh, sorry, just a second. Yeah, how many times have you guys failed to meet a target? Just wanted to know. Yeah. Am I audible? Is it clear? I just want to know.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
I see a lots in the chat. I also struggle for sure.
Yeah. I think all of us have that issue of procrastination and not meeting our goals and stuff like that. It's really tough. I get it, but we need to have some kind of a driving force that lets us do. And one of the best thing is, if you don't start on a feature, you're never going to finish it. Yeah, so first pick a small feature that you want to use, you want to work on, and set reasonable goals. Like, don't have like, I'm going to finish the entire project in a couple of days. I'm going to just keep expanding. Like, I'm going to finish 100 lines of code in the next 2 days. Don't have unreasonable goals. Just be like, okay, I'm going to finish this particular function probably in the next couple of days, and have a proper structure for that. And always have your own creative list. As in, if you decide to finish like one particular module or function within the next 2 days, reward yourself. have a small chocolate, or just have a small party within the 4 of you guys who are doing the project. That would really boost up the morale, and it will have a really cool way of motivating yourself to do further. Next thing is structure. So you don't go to the moon in one day. There are multiple tasks that lie up before you actually reach for the moon. Yeah. So what you need to do is break up your big chunk of work into smaller, meaningful parts, and then do one at a time. I mean, one step at a time is going to take you to the top. So, and always try to stay on target, and always work on, just covering the little bit that you need to do every day. I personally love productivity tools like, Google Keep, Microsoft OneNote. There are amazing stuff out there which you can help you stay on time. So that's something that I would love to do, to have an organized structure for my project. And yeah, I love to create a plan. So I'm sure all of us would like to have a good plan as to how to work and how to go about the day. So we could probably do something like that. And lastly, it's accountability. I'm pretty sure this is some place where all of us kind of lack. Yeah. So we need to tell someone that, I'm working on this, I'm planning to do this. So I need some time. I'll probably take a couple of days. And, once you tell someone, it makes you accountable to tell them that you have finished that job. So that kind of gives a driving force for you to actually complete the job. And nowadays, there's a lot of online commitment. Yeah, you post something on social media, it stays there forever. So when people ask you again, what happened to the product that you said you were going to release last week? So that kind of gives another driving force. You can share it on social media, tweet it, blog it. A lot of cool options are there. So that's one thing that can keep you accountable and, completely stay motivated to the job. And this is another thing, like, always have the big picture in your mind, be it a startup or a nonprofit organization. Always realize why you're doing something. So if you are working for children who are, victims of domestic abuse, remember the happy faces of how, you could actually help them out in the future. Have that in the back of the mind so that you can actually, stay positive and work for this. At the end, it's always about you staying focused, staying positive that this is going to make a positive impact in people's lives. And if it's going to be a startup, imagine how many people would actually download that app and actually work for that. So just have the bigger picture in your mind and move with that. Another thing is, you should realize that you've invested so much of your time with your ideas, with your thought process. You can't go back now. You have to push it to the finish line. So that's something that helps you stay motivated and work towards your goal. So lastly, stay positive. You got this. Resources. So this is, I think, one of the most important section of today's presentation as to how exactly you reach out to people and ask them to connect with you and actually get through to them and get them to sponsor you and stuff like that. So firstly, you need to connect with people. So there are multiple online platforms, but my favorite is always LinkedIn. You can always drop them a message. You can have a lot of venture capitalists, you have a lot of sponsors, you have a lot of people from nonprofit that are there on LinkedIn. So it's very simple to just have a connection request, put a personalized message. That is very important. Just tell them that you're from this particular organization or this particular startup, and I'm planning to do this. I have these goals in my mind. I wish to continue further with your support. Something like that, and drop a message to them in LinkedIn. So that's an amazing thing. Yeah. And secondly, we have a lot of amazing online communities. Like, the only reason that I find myself so empowered today is because of online communities. So we have amazing communities everywhere. We have communities that are specific to people with gender marginalized communities. We have a lot of people from, economically lesser privileged communities. We have a lot of amazing communities out there. So you could find like-minded people, you could find people to connect with, you could find people that will help you fund and probably give you resources to connect with, bigger startups further. So that's something that, really helps me think about, how to expand and stuff. Next is one of the most important things. You need to make a presentation. You need to either have it as a website or a proper Word document or an actual presentation. It could be anything. So this is just a small document that you will be using to pitch your product to the consumer or to the venture capitalist, either way. So you need to have a particular format of presentation. So you could probably start off with what is your company, why do you need that company, and what is your idea now, and how do you like to enhance it further, and what exactly do you need their support for. You could probably have all this listed in your presentation. Give them a proper guidance as to why you're going to use that, and you can probably send it out to venture capitalists and sponsors. Okay, how to get funding? This is kind of specific to startups, I would say, because for nonprofit organizations, we could use fundraising activities and stuff like that. But for actual startups, I think we would go with either contacting sponsors of various hackathons. Like we have amazing sponsors here. You could probably connect with them and get their idea as to how we could go about actually actualizing your product. So that's one thing. Another thing is we have this amazing thing on GitHub called sponsorship. So let me just take you there. This is a cool thing that I actually found, that you have the sponsor button where you could just go click on it and you can support them through Patreon or other amazing sources out there. So this can be added to any project. So once you have a GitHub repo for your project, you could always activate the sponsor button and you can have people who can support your hackathon project later on as well. So that's something. Yeah. So lastly, keep expanding, build a lot more projects and expand your products regions. Just don't restrict yourself to one idea. Just keep brainstorming, kind of like repeat the same process again and again. I think you will all get into a good place. That's something I'd like to say. That pretty much sums up today's session. I hope you learned a lot from that. Yeah. So I would like to take a pause here and get questions from you folks. That's okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Raksha. I know I learned so much from that lesson. Also the sponsor feature on GitHub, that is so cool. Actually, yeah. I do believe we had a question in the chat, if that's okay.
Yeah, cool. That's fine. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, how do you plan your project effectively? So what I would suggest is that you need to, it might be technical or non-technical. You need to, figure out what exactly you need to do. Let's say I'm planning on having a productivity app. Like first day, I'm planning to create a to-do section for that. The next day, I want to have a notes section. Third day, I'm going to have a reminder section. Something like that. This is just a very vague way of putting it. You could probably break down your big project into smaller chunks and you could, estimate the number of days that you will take to complete it. And that way you could probably map a timeline for yourself. So that's something you could use to plan your project effectively. That's something I would say, yeah. Just shoot your questions, folks. No idea.
Amazing. If I actually could toss a question out there, Do you have a favorite like hackathon project? And if like if you ever continued building upon it, what would your goal for it be? Just throwing out a fun question.
Yeah, so I actually created a prototype, like I think around last year, for an idea where it's kind of like a Tinder for hackathons, where you get to match with mentors, and you get to match with uh, folks from other teams, just to get a nice connection, or if you want to just move on with the project, you could meet new teammates. You could also I also had like few ideas to contact restaurant services late at night, so I just had a couple of allied stuff that I thought I can implement. That was actually a Figma prototype that I created during the hackathon. So I was expanding on it technically. So I had made a React Native model of that, and I tried to, release it on Play Store. I'm still working on that, but that's something that's quite close to my heart, because I felt that that idea was kind of like from nowhere, and I got that cool idea. So I thought that was one of my favorite projects that I'd like to expand further.
Oh my gosh, wait, that sounds absolutely incredible. Yes, please do like let us know if like you do launch it, or like I would love to hear updates, because that is exactly the sort of thing that I know I would personally use for sure. Thank you so much. I think that Seriously asked in the chat, what is one thing that every hacker should do?
One thing is that I would say stay positive, and always have a plan. And it's okay to not have a plan at the moment, but have some kind of a generalized vision with what you're going to do with your project. I mean, it needn't be like, I'm going to release the product in like 2 weeks, or, I'm going to start an organization in like 2 months. That needn't be like actual materialistic goals, but just have a vision as to, how many people's lives you're going to improve when you actually go ahead and make this product. So just have a positive attitude, just have a broader picture in mind whenever you're doing a project. That's something I would suggest.
Thank you. Yes. Oh my gosh. Positive attitude, seriously, like are the right way to go. Especially, I know from experience, like hackers, we often run into very tricky / frustrating errors. And so being able to like, remind yourself like you're doing great is super helpful. Thank you so much for that answer.
And one more thing is that, whenever you're starting a new project, or, going to multiple hackathons, there will be a lot of times when you genuinely feel that you're not appreciated for your efforts, because let's face it, you're not going to win every hackathon, or you might not win like 10 in a row as well. So just stay positive, because your product makes a difference. You know that even if it doesn't matter if it actually wins a particular competition or not, all it matters is that your idea is amazing and your idea is completely valid, and just keep working on improving that particular thing.
Oh my gosh, yes. Truly like the most important piece of advice is like, yeah, you're so right. Thank you again. Does anyone else have any more questions? I know like I wish we could continue this conversation all day, so definitely would love to hear.
I think there are no more questions. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, in that case, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Rickshaw, for this incredible presentation. I know I learned like an obscene amount of information, which I definitely hope to implement like in my own personal life. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are thinking the exact same thing, because this is super informative. And so truly so grateful for you joining us. And before everyone goes, I just dropped like a quick little like survey into the chat that's like little feedback about any questions, comments, concerns anyone might have. So would love for y'all to like check that out, fill it out. It's like 3 or 4 questions, maybe max. And yeah, once again, happy hacking, everybody. Good morning, good evening, depending on your time zone. Hope the hackathon is going well. And if it's okay with you, Riksha, maybe we can hang out on here for maybe 2-3 more minutes in case anyone has any last minute questions. And if not,
sure.
fantastic.